This is the Mad Dragons Podcast. Well, g'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mad Dragons Podcast. We stumbled, we bumbled, we looked devoid of a game plan and lost for ideas, and yet we were probably the better team, and in the end, it was only our own ineptitude that saw us lose. Big T, what do you see as the key reason as to why we lost this game?
Don't get me started, Donny. We won every stat today, every stat except the kick return and the game. Oh my God! Like, how did we do it? Missed tackles, 46 missed tackles, I think it was. That's too good. Our best game this year, we've had 21, and we won that game. I don't think effort is a problem. 10 guys ran over 96 metres today. The 2 guys that ran 96 played 30 minutes each, so 35 minutes each. So, and Jack DeBellin's out at 55 tackles. I don't think it's that either. They all made tackles or missed tackles. Every player missed a tackle today, except for Jaden Hunt. So I'm going to give him one. He didn't play, but anyway, I'm going to put it down to Umbai. 42 minutes. He ran 3 for 13 or something. I was told earlier on. That's just not acceptable. He didn't do anything. No, I think we lost by 6 points. If Little had played more, he ran 6 runs for 62 metres, I think it was. He got the ball out. We looked better with him on the field. Umbai, sorry.
Yep, fair enough, mate. All right, I'll go straight into it. Darren Etchells is straight into me in the comments. He said, Donny, you said we were going to go well this year. I said we're bottom 4. What do you got to say for yourself? Guess what? Sometimes I get it fucking wrong. My point when I said we were going to go well is that should have been the expectation. The expectation for me was that the Dragons should have been expecting to aim high. We should have been expecting to aim for that top 4, knocking on the door of the top 4, definitely top 8. That should have been the expectation of every single Dragons fan out there. The fact that you thought we were going to be bottom 4, that means that Hook is currently meeting your expectations and maybe should be re-signed for another couple of years. He's not meeting my expectations. I'm the only one that actually thinks that Hook should be sacked because he's not meeting my expectations. If you thought we were already going to be a bottom 4 side, then he's meeting your expectations. Hook is doing exactly what he was expected to do in your eyes. For me, he's not meeting that standard at all, and we should get rid of him. So there's how I answer that one, Daz. All right, we move now straight into another bloke that's a little bit fired up. We go on and we have a look and see what Hasman's got to say.
There ain't nothing but heroes and villains, more villains than heroes. What can you tell? What from the next? Can you go down from 0? There ain't nothing but heroes and villains, more villains than heroes. All lined up from the east to the west, black hat worn on an infinite chest.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. So, heroes and villains this week, we've got the not particularly good and the incredibly bad. So we'll start off with the good just for a change. So the heroes for this week are Tautau Moga and Jack DeBellin. Now, I thought that Moga did his job very well. He ran 181 metres and scored 2 tries in the process with a couple of line breaks as well. And for mine was probably our best on ground. Which is also why I gave him 3 points in the Mad Dragons Player of the Year voting as well. Now, I thought DeBellin was strong in defence as always. He did we are such a better side in defence with him there. There's absolutely no 2 ways about that. Now, the villains this week are Zach Lomax and Coach Anthony Griffin. Now, Lomax has changed his his kicking style. Now, it's not working. He needs to go back to what he was doing before he costs us yet another game with a whole bunch of bloody missed conversions, as he did today, as he did last week. Now, Anthony Griffin made an absolute fucking blunder in having Jacob Little listed on the team sheet as being the starting hawker, and then for some fucking reason, Moses Mbai has ended up starting, and that has basically cost the Dragons an interchange in what could only be described as an absolute fucking amateur hour moment by the coach extraordinaire, as absolutely fucking no one is calling him. It was one of 1,000 mistakes that he's made, along with the tactic structure, the defensive shape, and pretty much everything else that he's tried. And look, I, for one, cannot wait to fucking see the back of this guy. How can anyone defend him is completely fucking beyond me, Donnie. So that's Heroes and Villains for this week. Back to you.
Well, you didn't miss it all there, Hasman. It was that's one of your absolute best, and I don't think you're going to get too many people coming back at you with a dissenting view on that one about Hook. That I don't think any other club, any other club in any other professional sport anywhere in the world would come up with a fuck up like we saw today at the start of that game, with Moses Mbai starting the game when he wasn't listed on the team sheet. I mean, what a complete screw up that just continues to make us look like amateurs. The club is an absolute rabble, and you're right. I don't know whose responsibility it is to put in the team sheet, who actually does it in the club, but ultimately the responsibility rests with the coach, and that sits firmly and squarely on Hook's head. Not his only screw up today. I think starting him by in the first place was a bit of a screw up. I mean, why go back to something that hasn't worked? Why does he seem to think that Moses Mbai is the best option for us at 9? Like, it's ridiculous. All right, moving on to the Mad Dragons Vodcast Player of the Year voting, and this was the closest that the voting has been so far this season, but the player voted as our best by our panel with just 11 votes was Tyrell Sloan. And Youngie, welcome to the show. You had Sloaney as our best. What did you like about Sloan's performance?
I did. I thought that he had a really good game. He showed lots of good effort, and that effort to bring the ball back when it was about to go over the sideline and get that into touch, save that from going into touch, and then get to the ball and almost get the ball out. That was a big effort. So he was definitely my shining light today, and I thought it was a really good effort.
Yeah, no, I had Sloan as my best as well, mate. I thought for the first time we involved Sloan in our attack. I think throughout this season, he's sort of been hovering around but never gets the bloody ball. And today he's got his hands on the ball. He was a focal point in our attack. He set up one of our tries. He created line breaks and created options and headaches for the opposition throughout. His effort was on both sides of the field. He'd pop up in one spot. He must have covered a hell of a lot of ground. I know statistics don't show that in terms of the meters he made with the ball in hand, but the amount of territory that he covered today, I thought was exceptional. And it's not just in attack. He's obviously working really hard in defence. We saw during the week. He's actually leading the NRL in try saves. So he's going really well on both sides of the ball, working really hard, and I thought deserved the 3 votes and the top of the panel's votes there. So really well done. Second in the voting was Jaden Sewer, and Muzzer, you had him as your man of the match. Why Sewer, mate?
Yeah, I did. I just thought he was just strong all round. He made a lot of yards up that right side. Troubled the defence pretty much. Well, it was really hard it is really hard, like you said before, to pick best players when we, as a team, we didn't perform well. But I just thought he was strong strong running and a couple of offloads, a lot of tackle busts, and it was a toss up between him and Sloan, to be honest. But we had to give one. So Sloan, as Dazza just pointed out, had a much better game. But I just went for Sewer. He hasn't impressed me greatly in some of the games he played this year, but today I think he certainly did. And look, there's a lot of players that could have got the one vote as well, but it was a toss up, but Jaden got it for me.
Yeah, no, I had Sewer right up there in my votes as well. I thought he was certainly the forward that kept working hard. Made quite a lot of tackles. He seemed to hurt in defence, and was getting the odd offload away and getting his hands free, and again asking questions to the defence, and certainly one of his higher effort games. I think this year he's seemed to be struggling a little bit with injury, and I think maybe starting to get his body back to where it needs to be. It was a good solid performance. All right, so everyone has Hook as the main villain. He's an absolute moron for picking this guy. He never should have been in the team in the first place, according to every single member on this panel. And yet the third best player on the field, according to our judges, was Tau Moga. Chloe, you had Moga as your second best. What did you like about the Moga Express today?
I liked that at least he gave a go. He scored 2 tries today, which was great for us. He also had the most run meters, which was 213, and he was also against 2 line breaks. Sorry, I was trying to do my homework. So 2 line breaks, and I just thought he gave it a go, and good on him. Whether he stays on there, I don't know, but I think a villain also, has meant to take over the spotlight. I think that Zach Lomax needs to go back to New South Wales Cup. He was appalling today. He was soft. He didn't kick. I just don't know what's going on with him at the moment, but I just feel like he just needs a week in New South Wales Cup to just overcome that and come back better and bigger for next week.
I'd agree. Yep.
I don't agree. I think apart from his goal kicking, which is abhorrent, I think Zach Lomax is still in our best centre. Who do you replace him with?
I don't know, but we don't have a lot. I know.
That's the issue. There's no one better than Zach. There's no one even close to as good as Zach Lomax. No one even close to as good as him.
I know that, but however, there's no one in our team that is like, he was so soft he couldn't even tackle today. He's abysmal at the moment. And why is Jaden Sullivan in New South Wales Cup when he is playing fantastic in that New South Wales Cup? I'm sorry, but I'm going to disagree. Zach Lomax needs to go back to New South Wales Cup just to, rekindle that love, the passion. That's it. Nothing bad. He just needs, and maybe some guy from New South Wales Cup can give him a go. That's why half these people will leave. And that's where I get the shits with our coach, because what's going on with Jaden Sullivan? There's nothing absolutely wrong with him, and he's still there.
Jaden Sullivan's not a centre. Jaden Sullivan is not going to replace Zach Lomax. Yeah, we're going to have plenty of time to talk about Jaden Sullivan.
I'm sorry.
I'd put Zach back on the other side.
Yeah. I think that's the big issue. Is that
that's the first point.
It's not working.
And if he's still shit, then do something about it. But I definitely think he's got to go back there like he was last year, and he was playing consistent footy. Give him a go back where he was. If he's still playing shit, then think about dropping him. For who?
Yeah, I don't think his general play has been all that bad. I mean, he ran for 139 metres today, which isn't the sign of a bloke that's playing shit to me. I thought he still went okay there, and he's still the best option in the centres. I agree with you though, Muzz. I think we've got to swap Sully and Lomax back. It hasn't worked. All right. The Mad Dragons vodcast. Yeah, we're always looking for sponsors to jump on board. So if anybody out there that is watching, if you want to jump on board and sponsor the Mad Dragons vodcast, we can promote your products and yeah, if you think that your product meshes well with the product that we're putting out, then get in touch with us, and yeah, we'll send you through some sponsorship packages. Right, well, before we get into some moments of the match, the next thing I want to go into is the New South Wales Cup. Before we talk about the New South Wales Cup, just want to show the highlights from that game. Well, there you go. Muzza, I know you watched the New South Wales Cup game pretty closely. We're on the end of a 12-5 penalty count and almost snatched the win, going down 20 points to 18. Which players impressed you in this game?
Yeah, I did watch most of it. I definitely saw the first half, and I did drift off a little bit in the second half. I had to go and finish mowing the lawn. But mate, definitely, I think, and I think I mentioned earlier, I thought Burns had a good game just with his running, that line running and decent in defence. A couple of breaks in that try in the second half, obviously. I think, well, what's his name? Turner, even at the back, even though it's probably a little bit like Moga. I think we've all sort of said that he's slow and he's clunky, but he sort of just seemed to get things done. He just sort of said, the tackle breaks and line breaks and stuff, but he looks very, very awkward. But yeah, he was getting the job done out there. And what was his name? Nick Louis Toso, I think, after a slow start, a couple of errors early, I think he came back strong in the back end of the game there and showed a bit as well. But yeah, there's a couple of disappointing efforts as well, but those blokes I thought stood out.
Yeah, no, I think you've hit the nail on the head. Billy Burns, he topped the meters, he topped the tackle count, 42 tackles, ran for 147 meters. It was a really good return for Billy Burns. It was a good showing from him. Jaden Sullivan, I thought, while he wasn't quite as dynamic as he was last week, setting up 4 tries and scoring one, he still set up a couple of tries and a couple of line breaks that he created as well. I thought his kicking game was particularly good. Some of the kick chases from some of his teammates let him down a few times. He probably should have had 3 or 4 goal line dropouts that he forced, but the kick chase on a couple of them weren't quite up to scratch. But yeah, certainly some good performances to come out of that loss, and maybe some blokes that are pushing for selection next week for Anzac Day. But we'll have to wait and see which road Hook decides to go down for that. All right, moving into a couple of moments from the NRL match now. Big T, we've spoken about it a little bit already, but do you think it's time for Lomax to hand responsibility for goal kicking to someone else?
Oh, he has to do something. Wow, like he missed all 3 conversions today, and as Hasman said, that was the difference today. We've got beat by 6, 3 missed conversions. The story of his kicking tee, whether he's using a shorter one or not, who knows? But as Hasman said before, he has to go back to the way he was kicking last year. He kicked 19, 20 in a row at one stage last year. if not more.
It's brilliant.
Uh,
Brilliant.
I
and,
know. Like, but he's changed his kicking style apparently, so
yeah, they've killed him.
he's sticking with it. I don't know who his kicking coach is, but
Jamie Soward, I think.
yeah,
Yeah, Jamie
Jamie
Soward.
Soward. Yeah, but Jamie Soward was a flat kicker, wasn't he? He wasn't. Oh, he kicked high. Is he injured? He ran for 158 meters. I don't know. Yeah. All I can say, he needs more practice. And do we have another kicker in the team in the 13? I don't know.
Well, Tyrell Sloan does the kickoffs, so he can obviously kick the ball, but whether he,
How's his direction? How's his?
well, I don't know. There's only one way to find out. You know, we can't do too much better than a guy that, what's he kicking at for the season so far? He'd have to be about 50%. Like it's
I
it's
think less than
atrocious.
that, wouldn't he?
No, he's not.
He
It
was
was,
zero.
so well.
He was
25% today.
he was 65% or something coming into the game today. But I don't know what
He
it's
was only
dropped to now.
25.
Yeah,
One
but
for
for that game, mate. But for the season, he's a bit more than that.
Yeah.
But hang on,
His
I'll bring
average slipped
He's
down.
on the computer.
it up
Who's the
quick.
stat man?
65.4% he's kicking at so far this season.
Well, that's wishy-washy.
Poor.
Yeah, so that's
I
no.
could
That's,
kick better than that.
yeah, exactly right.
And I'm an old man.
I don't think Tyrell Sloan would do any worse than that. So give him a go. Ben Hunt has kicked before. I don't think he's kicked since about 2014, but he's another guy that has kicked goals before in his career. And I think he'd be kicking it better than 65.4%. So
Yeah.
Lomax has
If
either got
we've
a,
got another kicker, pass it on for a couple of weeks, get the practice going. If Jamie Soward's his coach.
I think Hasman suggested when we bring Jaden Sullivan back in, make him the goal kicker.
Agree.
You know, he's kicking
Yeah, but he's not
goals in
gonna
New
play.
South Wales Cup.
He's not going to play 80 minutes, is he?
Why not? Put him at 6 and dump Amone.
Spot on.
No,
Amone missed 8 tackles today, mate.
he did.
He made
He
7,
ran
missed
about
8.
56
Like,
meters too.
he's the biggest speed bump in the entire NRL. He's a
I
big
think he's
body
going
and
somewhere
cannot
else.
tackle.
I think he's mine somewhere else.
Perhaps. But if he's mine somewhere else, he shouldn't be playing in the NRL side. He should be
True.
playing down in New South Wales Cup. Anyway, Youngie has been sort of already spoken about it already, but whose responsibility is it to make sure that the team list is given to the NRL is the same as the team that's going to be starting the game?
Don't know whose responsibility is, but it was a total fuck up. Be it the assistant coaches or the coach, for somebody to get that wrong. I would have, if that's what was done, I would have left him on the bench and just let him just let Mboy start later in the game. Because you could have used that in a change later. We might have needed that towards the back end of the game. So why waste it?
Well, I have heard some rumours that I've read on social media saying that we actually finished the game with only 12 players on the field because we had to make an interchange and we didn't have any left.
Well, see, there you go. It cost us. So don't get me started. What a fucker.
Well, that's the whole point of this
says a
show,
lot
mate,
about
is
the
to
club.
get you started, get you rolled up.
That's why I don't come on this thing very much, because they just frustrate the shit out of me. Oh God.
I think the beauty of coming on is that you realise you're not alone, mate. You know, we can all gather around you and give you a hug and say we all feel the same way, mate. But all right, Hasman, it was very nearly a scoreless first half. Was it shit footy? Was it good defence? Was it ordinary attack? Was it errors on the last pass? Why was it such a low-scoring first 40?
I think it was a combination of all of those, Donny. Our attack was absolutely fucking impotent at best, with the exception of possibly Tyrell Sloan, who, was sort of looking for the ball quite a bit. We died on the ball. We died with the ball on the 5th tackle. I don't know how many times, where even a kicking goal would have been a better option. The way that Canberra did to us when they got, what was it, fucking 3 or 4 line dropouts consecutively. There were no questions being asked of the Canberra defence in that in that first half. They just handled us with absolute ease. There's a lot of passes went begging on the last where a keep would have been a better idea, which Canberra actually did very well against us. Pretty much only desperate defence and on our part saved several tries from being scored in that first half. I thought it was a pretty shithouse performance all round, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I think it was a half that neither side would be particularly proud of, and maybe both teams a little embarrassed by what they put up, because it was 40 minutes where both teams had numerous opportunities and all that, but neither team really looked like scoring a try until somehow Tau Moga got across the line, and George Phillip, I think, has read my run sheet, because he's moved straight into the next question that I've got for you, Muzza. We somehow go to halftime in front, but as so often happens, we didn't seem to come out of the shed. Was this another case of Hook putting them to sleep, or did the Raiders just play better early in that second half?
Who knows what goes on at halftime, and until we get some footage of that halftime, we're not going to know, or either or, until we get Donny in the sheds at halftime to fucking fire them up. I don't know. Something's got to get a fucking rocket up them. But as far as I can say, look, I don't really think that either side played good or played bad. We both played as shit as each other. It was probably one of the most hour games of the year, to be honest. They didn't put the pressure on, or the pressure they put on that we should have been able to negate, and vice versa. But it was a shocking game, and answer that pretty clearly is no. I don't think they were better than us. They didn't come out better. We were just shit. They were shit, and it was just the least shit team won on the night.
I think that's a pretty good summation there, Muzz. All right, Chloe, the Raiders, they got to the front, and then they had Nick Chotrich sent to the sin bin, and we immediately took advantage. With the Raiders down a man, did you think we would go on with it from there?
I just have to say, viewers, I'm very sorry, but there's a Raider person. I'm sorry, everybody. That's my father, so I apologise in advance. So I'm sorry. He's gonna. So yes, sorry. Okay, I thought that we were going to have a great chance when Nick Kotrick went off. I thought, oh yes, we give one man less, and then there was nothing, and I was like, oh shit, I was like, oh, what is going on? I just felt a bit disappointed, I just don't know what I don't know anymore.
Yeah, and I think it was he didn't leave the referee with much choice but to send him to the sin bin for that one. And basically, as soon as he went off, we went straight back to where he was, scored that try. I thought that was one of the probably the only bit of smart play we saw from the Dragons in that 80 minutes. But Jesse, I want your take on the Hudson Young one-on-one strip on Musgrove and then sprinting about 85 metres to score. What were your thoughts on this play?
It looked like a completed tackle to me. Musgrove, he had three defenders bring him down to the ground, and then those two defenders fall off, and then Hudson Young runs to the other end to score. It looked like a blatant completed tackle to me. I don't know what the referee was doing there. Probably, as you said, Lomax and Jaden Sewell were chasing Hudson Young, but it's pretty sad that a second rower can outrun our entire back line. No one can come close to running him down. I mean, that's pretty disappointing, but at the end of the day, I thought too that was definitely a completed tackle.
I thought it was a tackle too, Jess.
When's he held? Yeah.
Yeah.
I seriously
I think I counted 4 in the tackle. You count the 4 tackle, get off.
Yeah,
Shade
and they
to the
fell off.
26 grand final.
Oh yeah, that short kickoff. Yeah, Matthew Ridge.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. Jesus Christ, you want to bring up trauma?
Ripped off again.
Oh. Yeah, but no,
I couldn't believe it.
Well, I thought Musgrove was down on his knees, momentum had stopped while there were 3 players in the tackle. Like, that's held. The tackle is complete. you can't then have two blokes drop off after the tackle is complete and strip it out. I thought that was one of the, I certainly didn't think the referee cost us today. I know there'll be a lot of people blowing up about me saying that because it's always the referee's fault. But
No, he didn't give us many 50-50s, but
I thought we got plenty of 50-50s. I thought there was
No.
a forward pass early that got called against the Raiders that wasn't forward. Yeah, I thought there was another one later on too. Oh, there was the one where Finai went into touch, put his foot on the sideline, and they called play on.
true. Okay, yep.
There was a few that were not even 50-50s. They were 90-10s that went in our favour. So, yeah, I don't think we've got too much to complain about with the referee, but he certainly got that one wrong. It was a key moment in the match, and I agree with your other point, Jesse. The fact that a second rower is able to run 85 metres and score a try, and no one looked like running him down from the Dragons. There was only two blokes that actually gave it a go. So it was, yeah, I thought that was all pretty poor. Right, Big T, our man Moga, he took the intercept to give us a grandstand finish and a chance of snatching golden point. Did you think we could get 6 more in that last 5 minutes?
Oh, I did think we could get 6 more in that last 5 minutes. I thought we were starting to run over the top of them. They were down to 12 men. But yeah, I thought I was on Moga's back. I was riding him home like a champion, mate. Come on, Moga, let's go, son. Come on. I was on his back. And he was slowing down, so I got off his back. And he got over and scored the try, like I was on his back. But I thought we could have got that last 6 points. We got close, but we could have got it.
Yeah, he's a dead set intercept specialist, Tau.
Oh, he is.
I've seen him take half a dozen in reserve grade. We've seen him now on 2 or 3 occasions. He hasn't played a lot of NRL for us, but we've already seen 2 or 3 occasions where he's taken an intercept. Of course, there was the famous one last year where he wasn't fast enough and got run down and taken into touch. But yeah, he's a dead set intercept specialist, and it was great that he was able to get one and go the distance and score the try and give us that opportunity. And Hudson Young gets sent to the centre. What do you think of that last play, Big T? You just the crash play for Josh Kerr.
No, that was not the last play. Well, they needed to play touch football. They needed to throw the ball around from one side of the field to the other, looking for that little gap, getting Sloan on the ball. Sloan should have had that last ball. I can see him making magic. He should have been allowed to play that last play himself.
Yeah, no, it was. I thought it was a pretty average way to finish, and like you said, it would have been nice if they threw the ball around and had a bit of a crack. And I'm sure if Josh Kerr goes across and we're singing the praises of Benny Hunt about what a genius he is, but that wasn't the way that it happened. Wasn't the way that it played out. I think there's been plenty of criticism of Josh Kerr not being able to break the skin on Custard. So having him do the crash play maybe not the best option. But in any case, one thing I do want to highlight is on an individual level is Junior Amone's defence. I kind of brought it up before because it has got me a little bit pissed off. He made 7 tackles and missed 8. Youngie, surely a bloke as big as Junior Amone needs to be less of a speed bump.
I'd agree with you. His defence is not good. And look, I'm pro Sullivan, so I just think Sullivan is the better link for Ben Hunt. I don't know what you think, but I just think he would be a better suit, and maybe use Amone off the bench instead of Mboy, because then you could slot him in at centre. You could put him in at 5'8". After Sullivan comes off, you could play him at half. You could play him anywhere in the back line that way, if the need comes around. So that'd be the way I'd go.
Yeah, nail head, you've hit it, mate. I think that's precisely the way that I'd be looking to go. I'd have Sullivan in the 6 and Junior Amone as the 14 and get rid of Moses Mbai out of the side altogether. But
Agreed.
somehow I don't see Hook doing that. I don't see Hook doing that at all.
No, it'll stick.
He still thinks Moses Mbai is the best option at 9. He's more likely to drop Jacob Little, I think. But
Well, yeah, go on.
yeah, yeah. All right. We'll move on now. We'll have a look at another game from the lower grades that happened over the weekend. This is the New South Wales Women's Premiership. We'll have a look at this, and then we'll come back with a couple of questions from some fans.
With seconds remaining, and
great memories. This oval. My father actually sprint coached the first grade Western Suburbs team here as well. So many family ties with Lidcombe Oval.
15 metres out directly in front. It's fifth and last. So this time they go to the sky through Phil Mayono. And that's a nice takeover on the wing, and what a great catch that was. Emma Tomagano's gone left to the ruck. I'm interested to see, Aggies Pearson, they go right. Quick ball and straight through Berry, and then straight on to the number 4, and that's Jordan Preston, who just... So Davis got options left and right, shoots it left. And just a nice barging run off the hip there. So they're playing some pretty simple football, mistake-free at the Steelers right now. And it seems to be working, and that was just a soft, easy try. Simple forward, straight off the hip, and bang. So they've sent it to the left, and here goes Berry into space, and we just spoke about getting some points going into the halftime break, and the simple catch and pass from the scrum puts the burners on. And Tegan Berry goes all the way through and puts it straight under the black dot. And she's impressed me since she's got her hands on the ball in the second half a few times that she's touched it. And here they go again. And this is the best the Tigers have looked. In fact, they've gone over and got the ball down. Yeah.
And a ballerina Barbie twirl.
Okay, then. So this time they go to the right. And that was just some soft defence. And, of course, they've gone over again through Josie Strong and Kennedy. So Pryor sends it out. PA gets their hands on it. They send it to the left, and they've got numbers there if they want to use them, and they've decided to spread it. And that's come off an Illawarra shirt. And he's caught 6 again, and they're going to play on, and they've wrapped right around. And correct me if I'm wrong, that may be the girl on debut. She can't find a way through. Now they shoot it to the right. Pearson gets her hands on it, goes the short pass, flat ball, and they just roll their way over. And it's another try just to close the game out with seconds remaining. And the Illawarra Steelers, well, they've scored again and made it 32 points to 8 with a kick to come. And there goes the hooter in the background here at...
Well, of course, Jesse, that last try there to Jade Etherton was actually declined. It wasn't a try. Somebody's saying the Tigers suck in every grade, but they're actually the defending champions in the New South Wales Women's Premiership, and we got a good win over them in that one. Illawarra Steelers finished second on the ladder after comfortably taking care of the Tigers there, 28 points to 8. They go into a knockout final against the Bulldogs next weekend for a spot in the grand final. But does it concern you somewhat that we led 24-0 and didn't go on with it? This is after capitulating in the second half last week as well. So a couple of poor second half from the Steelers girls.
Well, it's actually 3 weeks in a row, to be honest. Like the first 10 minutes of each half. A couple of weeks ago, they played Cronulla. They led 12. They led early, and they were down 22-12 early in the second half. Then last week, they led 12-4 against Newcastle. Got round down 34-18. Yesterday at 24-0, you'd think they'd gone with the job the way they had the Tigers on the back foot for the whole game, really. I don't know if they were just into cruise control, thinking like they've won the game. They're looking to rest up, have one eye on the semi-final next week. But that's where you want to be getting your best form. You want to be hitting your top gear leading into the finals. Yeah, I don't think we'll be Alicia Kate Hawke will be too happy with the second half, as it's finals time now. It's everything's up a notch. The Bulldogs have a lot of NRLW stars in that side, so it's going to be a step up in class when they play the Bulldogs next week. A few Dragons NRLW players in that Bulldog side as well. So Kezzy Apps could be an inclusion. We have to wait and see. I think the Steelers do need her experience for this big game. But yeah, definitely something they need to work on going forward into the finals, and if they want to take out this competition. Interesting to see Tegan Berry at fullback too. Moving Emma Tonegano a lock, but maybe a bit of a go to see how Tegaberry handles the fullback position, because looks like she's going to be the NRLW fullback for the Dragons.
Yeah, it does look highly likely with the squad the NRLW side are putting together. We will talk about that a little bit later on in the show, and we'll chat about the team list for the game against the Bulldogs on Tuesday as well. But talking about Tuesday, Hasman, we've got some questions from fans. A big game on the calendar is Anzac Day, and Rob Saguna is worried after seeing the team today and wants to know what changes need to be made. What players from New South Wales can come into the team, and do you think they will make a difference?
Look, I'd probably be looking at maybe bringing Jaden Sullivan in to probably replace.
You're just saying that because that's what
Mose.
Rob wants to hear.
I know exactly what Rob wants to hear, because I think we think the same way. But yeah, I think we need to bring in Sullivan to replace Amone. Amone goes to the bench, and Mbai goes off to the fucking Redcliffe Dolphins for all I care. Now the other thing I'd probably be looking at too is maybe bringing Max Fenai onto the wing to replace Mogo, who admittedly was one of our best today, as indicated by his 2 tries and 181 run meters from 11 runs, as I said earlier in the show. But the issue that I have with Moga is he has the turning circle of a fucking cruise ship. We're going to need a lot more speed in the back line than we do currently have. Although Fenai does give up about 3 or 4 inches in height to Suaalii. Now, in terms of Anzac Day, Moga's basically the same height as Suaalii, but he's about 10 kilos heavier. But so my concern is with Moga's lack of speed, which we are going to need in spades if we're going to have any chance in hell of matching it with the Roosters. So I'd probably bring in Max Fenai and Jaden Sullivan. We need some speed and a little bit of ingenuity, which, to be honest, Junior Ramone just does not have at this point.
It's a big game to debuting, though.
And he's got to debut sometime.
Yeah. Jesse, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, Suaalii will be in the centres anyway. No, Fenai's played first grade before, so it wouldn't be a debut.
Yep.
He actually debuted before Max.
Did his ankle
Matt
or
did.
something.
He's just had a horrid run with injuries the last couple of years. But
Yeah.
on your point with Suaalii, he'll be in the Senate. So if Moga will be on the side of Daniel Tupou. So I don't know if Sam Walker or Luke Keat will kick to him. And Suaalii will be against Suaalii will be against Lomax. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna go there, but yeah. Lomax better be on Lomax better be on his game that day, because as you know what Suaalii can do. And yeah, and then we'll have Manu up against Suli. So that'll be
Lomax hasn't been on his game since about round 3 2020.
Yeah.
For me, our issue is not in the backs. Our issue is in the forwards, and I don't see anybody that's banging the door down there. Getting a couple of questions about how was Viliami Fafita in this game. He's a big boy. He's a huge human, and he certainly causes a dent and carries a few. And when he does, he makes a lot of post contact meters, but his involvement in the game isn't anywhere near where it needs to be. He played 44 minutes or something today, and had 74 run meters, 36 post contact meters. So almost half his meters coming in post contact. So he certainly carries a few in tackles, but I don't know that he's quite ready for first grade. The idea of seeing Billy Burns on the team sheet is enough to give Dragons fans nightmares, and the other guys that are sort of standing up, guys like Ryan Couchman had another very good game today, running for 147 metres. He's not in the top 30, so won't be eligible. So there's not a lot. There's not a lot of options for the Dragons to bring in terms of forwards there. So I don't see any of those guys coming into the side. Jaden Hunt, Michael Molo, those guys sort of rotating through. So, yeah, I don't see anything changing the pack. And I think as Hasman sort of alluded to, we're more looking to guys like Jaden Sullivan coming in and hopefully he can make a bit of a difference to the side. But I don't know that anybody's going in too confident to this game. All right, Jesse, everything NRL says that surely the little Mbai stuff up, along with winning just 2 from 6 to start the year, is enough to put the final nail into Hook's coffin. With a scheduled board meeting on Tuesday, what would you be hoping the outcome of that to be?
Well, I'm hoping that they effectively sack Griffin, but I highly doubt that'll happen. And we never really see. They've had these board meetings in the past. They really don't reveal anything that day. But usually happens a few days after. Usually they don't say anything. I don't know what's going to happen of it, but that's what I hope to happen. As for the Little and Mbai incident, I can't believe how he could stuff that up. I mean, he knows what time to put the team sheet in by. How hard is it to just submit what players you want in what position before kickoff? It's not rocket science. Yeah, he's really that's a coaching 101. He should have been taught when he's first become a coach. How could you not know who you want to play, start the game, and come off the bench? Like that is a bad, really bad error. And yeah, for Griffin, I don't see the club improving while he still remains coach. There's some saying that he'll coach out the season, but if it coaches out the season, I think it's way too late by then. I mean,
surely they won't sack him right before Anzac Day, though. Would you?
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of headlines around him this week again, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this meeting. Well, it's not.
There is a bit of a thing where the new coach or the interim coach always seems to win their first game. So doing it just before Anzac Day sounds like a decent idea to me.
I think it's time for Hook to fall on his sword.
I think he should resign, to be honest.
That's what I think. Fall on his sword, like commit Harry
it's
Curry.
inevitable.
See you later. Bye bye.
It's inevitable.
Why would he resign and not get money?
Oh, true. Yes,
stick there.
He won't.
He'll stick around to get sacked and still get money. He's not going to resign.
No, he won't. He won't.
One thing that won't happen is he won't resign.
I agree with you, Muzz. He's not going to resign because if we sack him, we have to pay him out. So he's not going to give up that. He's not going to give up the rest of the season's paycheck. He's going to need that because. But I don't think he's getting another job, is he?
The club could also just tap him on the shoulder and say, "Listen, man, we'll pay you out, but we're not going to sack you. You resign."
Well, Phil Gould warned us about him before we signed him.
Yeah, but Phil Gould says a lot of shit that's wrong. Like you take everything Phil Gould says, you take everything Gus says with a bit of a grain of salt. I think he didn't like him personally.
He's the one that says Des Hasler's our next coach. He said it. He said they've had success when we haven't had a non-Dragons coach. Look at Wayne Bennett, but he said Des Hasler is the bloke that could do it.
Well, look at Anthony Griffin.
That's what he said.
I think with where we're at, Des Hasler is the guy. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah, for me, Des Hasler is exactly the same as Anthony Griffin. Exactly the same. The only difference is that he won a premiership nearly 15 years ago. Like that's the only thing that's different between Hasler and Hook. They're both old guys that are set in their ways, that haven't moved with the times. They don't understand the modern game.
Hasler was doing well at Manly.
They finished below us last year. They finished below us last year with a better team.
He left the Bulldogs in a shambles.
The only time that was all back-ended contracts. That's what that was about. They went all in on a premiership, back-ended all their contracts, and then had to have a clean out. So
and Hasler was in charge.
You win or you lose.
He was.
Well, it could have come off too. They almost won a premiership. Out of it. The fact that it didn't come off, well, everyone's knifing him about it, but it could have worked too.
Yeah, if they had won a premiership, they'd still be complaining about where they are right now and how long it's taken them to recover. I still don't think it was a good idea. But yeah, I think he's also a guy that doesn't develop players. We're a development club, so yeah, I'm not a big fan of Hasler as an option.
No.
But I think he'll probably come to the club and win a premiership in his first year at the club, simply because I've said that he's not a good option. Everything I say seems to go the other way.
Who would you pick, Donny? Who'd you pick?
If it was up to me, I think I'd probably go with Shane Flanagan or Jason Riles. I think they're the two best options, but I don't think either of those two will want to come to the club.
I don't either.
I think at the end of the
That's it.
day, like all these names that are being mentioned, I don't think any of them are going to be our next coach. I think our next coach is going to be some guy that is absolutely desperate. No one else will let him coach ever again. And we are his only choice. I'm thinking a guy like Jason Taylor, who's had a couple of goes.
Josh Hannay.
Yeah, well, Josh Hannay hasn't coached before, but I think a guy that actually has coached before, a guy like Brett Camorley, who went shithouse when he took over the Tigers, and he wants
Mick
to coach. Mick Potter might be one of the better options, but it'll be a guy that we don't actually want to be the coach. They'll be the only ones that want the job. The same as it was last time around. The only guys that wanted the job last time was Hook, David Ferner, and Dean Young. They were the only three going for the job. Everyone else we went to, we said, "Oh, do you want to be our coach?" They said, "Fuck no." No one else wants to coach the Dragons. Nothing has changed. I can't see why they're going to take the job up now. So I think a lot of these names that are being bandied about, the club will be speaking to them, trying to get them interested, trying to make them decent offers. But I'm not convinced that too many of them are actually going to be interested in taking the job. All right, we move in now to injuries, sin bins, send-offs, possible suspensions and other changes. Chloe, the only player that I can think of that was put on report was Jack de Belin for tipping that Raiders player into a dangerous position. It was dumb, but do you think he has anything to worry about in terms of suspension?
Well, yeah, it was dumb. It was a bit silly. You don't know with the NRL anymore. He could get a week. You just don't know. Because welcome, ladies and gentlemen. That is my boyfriend Scott. He's a dragon too. So, but yeah, I think he might. It just all depends on the match committee. So I think I don't think he'll get much, but yeah, I just hope he doesn't. But it's
The Canberra player done it to himself.
Yeah, it was like he did a flip. He did like a roly-poly kind of
He done
thing.
it to himself.
Yeah, I know, but you just don't know anymore with the match committee, you know?
Can't suspend him for that.
I couldn't believe the commentary, to be honest.
Wait.
I didn't think it was even a penalty.
No.
Like, the guy it wasn't put into a dangerous position. He lifted his leg to get into the ground, and
yeah.
he did a flip. He did a roly
He put himself in a dangerous position.
He did.
Yeah.
It wasn't dangerous though. He just did a roly poly. I could do one right now. It's not dangerous.
No, that's right. Yeah.
It's like we could all do one right now, and it's not necessarily dangerous.
It was
I
dumb.
want to see that.
But yeah. I've done more than roly polies on my bloody game day videos, mate. So
I've seen it, that's right. Yeah. I love your game day videos. They're awesome.
The one this week was a bit unhinged, but it was good fun.
Yeah.
Unhinged. It was dark as it gets. Fuck.
Daft Donny Vader.
That's it. Yeah, my wife said, "Have you finished performing that exorcism?" Then when I came out of the studio after filming that one, so yeah.
That was some Emperor Palpatine shit. That was. Thought he was going to execute Order 66 at the end of it.
Yeah. Hey, did you sit yourself?
I think the Illuminati's got him. They've got him. Anyway.
All right. We'll move on now. We'll move on.
Bad.
What was that?
I thought the rabbit stew one that you did against South was fucking bad.
Oh, that's the worst one. Nah, this one wasn't as bad as rabbit stew. That rabbit stew one was that one gets me locked up. I reckon. I can't believe I was allowed out of the mental institution to film another one after that one. But
What have you got for Anzac Day? Sure, it'll be good.
I don't know. I'm usually a little bit more respectful for Anzac Day. But we'll see
Better
how
get
we
the
go.
camo out, mate.
We'll see how we go. All right, we'll move in. We'll have a look at another team's highlights. This is the Tarsha Gower Cup side in a semi-final on the weekend up against the Parramatta Eels.
Knocks it down.
And Parramatta getting first stadium, the finals, week 1 for the Harvey Norman Women's Tarsha Gale Cup. The Illawarra Steelers taking on the Parramatta Eels, and Parramatta getting first use of the ball. James Preston with you in commentary for all the coverage here on New South Wales Rugby League TV. In a strong 2-woman tackle, including Ahio. Couple of dummies now from Cawthorn. Promotes out the back. Dewey. They've got a nice little run here. Working well for the Parramatta Eels. They're in first. They'll score through Alicia Bell. They just kept the ball alive. Standing in the tackle for Basham. Preston. Yo. Getting forward now. They cut them up. Down the sideline they go. Putting the foot down. In fact, way too much pace. Mia Rose Walsh. Shy. They'll play it. Stevens has a crack herself. Stevens goes through the middle. They was causing problems in defence. Good tackle. Here they go now with Saville. Savile's off. Supplies a little pass here for Shipton. Shipton's away. And they will go in here. The Steelers, they take full advantage of it. It gets to within 5. Options both sides of the play the ball. Commons has a crack herself. Commons, has she got there? I think she has. She stretches out, and that should do it for the Illawarra Steelers. Jayla Commons gets the second try.
A good win there for the Steelers under-19s women's team. They also moved into a preliminary final after they beat Parramatta there, 20 points to 4 over the weekend. Jesse, what players were you impressed with from the young Steelers?
I thought the young centre Mia Rose Walsh will look good. She's one of the leading try scorers in the competition this year. She has a lot of speed. Good young prospect. Sienna Yo, she's the cousin of Zali Yo, who's playing in the Steelers Open Women's Premiership side, and also Isaiah. So it's cousin of Isaiah, the Panthers captain. So she's been the halfback for the side. So she's been steering the team around the park quite well all season. And also she's just been signed to the NRLW side recently. The captain of the side, Ella Costa, who coach Jamie South says she's probably the best young forward in the country. So I think they're going to be the keys to if the Steelers are going to go potentially all the way. But yeah, you pointed out in your post yesterday that they it's not revealed their opponents yet, but be either one of the top 2 sides in the Roosters or the Bulldogs in a do or die eliminator, grand final qualifier next week. But yeah, some really good resolve and some resilience yesterday after that the early try to Parramatta, but Steelers didn't let that get to them. They got back in the game and took control, and their defense was outstanding, only letting in the 1 try, and something to build on. And yeah, hopefully they can continue their run towards hopefully another Tarsha Gale premiership, which their last one was 4 years ago when Keely Davis was the captain. So hopefully we can get to the grand final again next Saturday.
In all honesty, I think it's a little optimistic thinking that we're going to win the premiership. I think all these teams that are playing in this Tarsha Gale Cup competition are playing to be runners up to the Bulldogs. They look incredibly strong. They're beating every team that they play by 40 and 50 points. So that they're going to be tough to beat, whether we run into them in this preliminary final or the grand final. I think it'll be a fantastic effort if we can run second in this competition to them. They look to have a number of extremely talented players. You mentioned Ella Costa in that little preview as being the player to watch. She's of course in the NRLW squad, but I actually thought a front row partner, Hope Millard, was the standout in the forward pack. I thought she was outstanding for the Steelers in that game. But yeah, there's a number of good players that will hopefully step up to the plate, because we played Parramatta earlier in the season, and only came away with a draw when we played them during the regular season. Parramatta had numerous opportunities in this game, and yeah, you mentioned the defence. The defence was absolutely phenomenal. The fact that we led at half time after kicking that goal from the sideline after the Mia Rose Walsh try was remarkable. There's no way we should have been leading that game. Parramatta dominated that first half, and we led 6-4 somehow. It was a really good performance.
Yeah, hopefully they can build on that next week, because again, it's going to be a step up in class again.
Right. Just to wrap up the lower grades, I'll talk quickly about the Jersey Flag. Our under-21 side getting back into the winner's circle, thanks in part to a few SG ball players making their flag debuts. A double to debutant Sevilio Tamale, by T. Ilmariki, Jeremiah Takere scored on debut as well. As the Dragons beat the West Tigers 34 points to 20. The other debutant was Dylan Egan, who we saw in the NRL trials, while a favourite of mine, Nick Sagranis, also started in the second row after playing in the SG Ball season for the St George Dragons, but he played flag last year as well, so it wasn't his debut, but always nice whenever I get a chance to mention Nick's name. He's a guy that I really love the way that he plays, and looking forward to seeing a bit more of him as the flag season progresses, and hopefully he can step up and maybe play even a bit of New South Wales Cup later in the season. Okay, we move on now to news, and most of the news is we've got 4 questions here. They're all going to focus probably around Hook, but we'll start with you, Big T. Dragons power brokers are a shock move to bring back Nathan Brown to the club, not as a coach, but in a recruitment role. Would you like to see Nathan Brown back at the club?
Yeah, no worries, mate. Nathan Brown was a red and white forever. You know, he was at Parramatta doing the Elite Pathways program, which was to give the local young talent the best opportunity to progress through to the NRL. So I'm not sure what role he's come to the Dragons at, Donny. What role has he come here as?
He hasn't got a role yet. There's just reports saying that they're trying to bring him back in
Maybe
some sort of role,
and
recruitment has been mentioned as a possible role.
Yeah, he might come back as a Pathways, maybe. I don't know what he's done at Parramatta. I think he signed 2021, 22 at Parramatta. No, he was red and white through and through. So he'd be a good addition to the coaching team or the front office team.
Well, just a bit of a follow-up on that, mate, is bringing Nathan Brown back and having him in and around the club. Does that suggest that the Dragons might be more willing to then bring in a rookie coach with someone like Nathan Brown around to help him out?
Yeah, for sure. Bring Nathan Brown back. Yeah, Ben Hornby. Ben Hornby he's been under Wayne Bennett. He's been under Mary for a couple of years. Demetrius at South Sydney. He's done 10 years in the coaching position. So maybe Ben Hornby, bring him some ex-players around him to help him pump up the team.
Jesse, I see you've got a hand up there. I don't know whether that's for this question or one earlier.
That's regarding Hornby. So Demetrio is actually backing him to be a coach.
Yeah.
He said he's done his apprenticeship under Wayne Bennett. He's learning under Demetrio as well. Demetrio is on the way to being a great coach as well, I think. Yeah, and Demetrio was actually in our system a few years ago. If you don't remember,
I remember.
If you remember.
I think everyone remembers, mate. Everyone's pissed off about it.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago, though.
The fact that Mary felt threatened by him and told him to go somewhere else. But anyway,
Brownie's a good get.
Yeah. I wouldn't want him here as the head coach, but in some sort of.
He doesn't want a head coach anymore, anyway.
No, he doesn't. But some sort of other role at the club, I've got nothing wrong at all with bringing back some old boys and getting them in around the club and having them tell stories about the good old days, about the history of the club, about what's great about being a Dragon.
Well, when the Dragons won the comp, it was proud, inspired, true, wasn't it? They were the 3 words written on the wall of the dressing room. And that just, we had to need to be a Dragon.
Yeah.
What about Nathan Feen? He's going all right up at Redcliffe.
Yeah, as an assistant. I don't know whether he's done quite enough of an apprenticeship yet. He's sort of a junior assistant up there behind, Wayne Bennett and Christian Wolf. So, I don't know. I guess some point down the future, in the future, Feen might be a good coaching option. I think he coached in the local league over here in Illawarra as well, didn't he? So.
Yeah, he coached Collies. He's won a few comps, but I don't think he's ready to be an NRL coach just yet. No.
Yeah, I think
he'll learn a lot from Wayne Bennett. Yeah.
I think Feen's likelihood of being that the head coach is right up there with Jamie Soward. A lot of people suggesting Jamie Soward just because he's coached the NRLW a couple of times. I think it's a completely different ball game to step up to NRL coaching. I don't think he is. I think he's 10 years away from being an NRL coach, Jamie Soward. So, I don't think he's a realistic option. But talking about the options, Muzzer, and I'm sure we've stolen everything you were going to say, everything you had planned, so you might have to just think on your feet here. But some reports suggesting Ben Hornby is the leading contender for the Dragons coaching job. Some saying Riles, others saying Hasler. Josh Hannay got a run during the week. Dean Young has been mentioned. Shane Flanagan is another said to be in the mix. Who would you like to see as the next Dragons coach after Hook is inevitably let go?
Well, it's been touched on quite a bit, I guess. But look, I'm probably Ben Hornby's got a good case, as has a few of the others there. But I think probably the pick of that bunch is probably Flanagan. I think we've got to probably go in the direction of something that Wayne Bennett's maybe looking at with the Dolphins there, coaching for a couple of years and then bringing on somebody to take on that role, and that person's got to be there in the role. So. Flanagan with a Hornby or a Riles as assistant coach for the next couple of years. Des Hasler, I know you're not real happy with him, but I think the one thing that Des has got is he's got that ability to get what he wants, and to, he can rev up a team and he can rev up a club. And, we've all seen what Hook can do to the guys, putting them to sleep at halftime, putting them to sleep before the game. Des at least has got some passion. I don't care where it is. He's going to have that passion, but I think Flanagan's probably our best bet with one of those guys, Hornby, Riles / Young, whoever in that assistant role. But I think they've got to know that's where it's heading. That this is what's going to happen in the next 2 years, 2 or 3 years, and then we're going to lead you into that role.
Yeah, well, I guess Wayne Bennett's the perfect example of a guy that's done that a couple of times now. He did it at South for Jason Demetriou. He's doing it now at the Dolphins with Christian Wolf in mind to take over. He also did it at the Dragons and recommended Steve Price take over. Steve Price was his assistant, and that probably didn't go quite as well as the Jason Demetriou one. Hasman, you've got something to add?
Yeah, Donny. So just speaking of Flanagan, did anyone else hear on the Fox commentary Flanagan referring to our dummy half as opposed to the Dragons dummy half? Did anyone else catch that?
Yeah, I'll caught that as well. Yeah.
I thought I heard
a Freudian slip, I'd say.
Yeah, I thought I heard our fullback at one point as well.
Well, I'm wondering if they might have basically lined him up. They just don't want to make an announcement just yet.
He clearly did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? There's a few people making that link and saying similar things. That he did seem to really pick apart Hook's game plan and was nothing but complimentary to all the Dragons players. So I don't know. Maybe we try and read something into that because we need something to cling on to. But I think we're trying very hard.
We've already got a couple of Manly players that have come over already, so maybe this was done weeks ago.
Well, set up. He was set up to go to Manly. Set up.
Yeah, we sent him into Manly, raid them, get all their best young players, bring them over to the Dragons, and then away we go. No, I like
That's
it.
right.
That's,
And we gave him
he
Aaron Woods.
certainly didn't do anything when he was in recruitment at the Dragons. So now he's at Manly.
Yeah.
Finally, he's doing something for us.
And Jesse's just said we gave them our Aaron Woods.
He
First touch
talked
the ball, dropped
he
it.
talked him into getting Woods. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's a good bloke. Yeah, no, bring him in. He's a real good hard worker. Nah, good on you, Flano.
Aaron Woods thought he scored.
Yeah.
Shane wasn't part of that deal.
Didn't take fucking Embo with him.
Yeah.
Oh, Shane Flanagan, what did he play 2 games for the Dragons? Always a Dragon at heart, though, isn't he?
No, he's
Good on you,
no
mate.
good. He's an ex-Dragon. Sorry, we can't have him. We can't have him.
All right,
Whoever it is, yeah.
Jesse.
Sorry, whoever it is, I just hope I know I've heard it's got to be unanimous, but I just hope they can agree on something at last, because this is something they've definitely got to agree on.
Yeah, I think the idea of it being unanimous. I mean, we've got a panel of 5 or 6 or 7 or something on here tonight, and I don't know whether we'd agree. I don't know whether we wouldn't be able to come to a unanimous decision. We wouldn't be able to pick 8 people at random that are watching on the live stream right now that would be able to agree. So I think it's unrealistic to think that 8 people are going to agree wholeheartedly as to which is the best option, best way to go. If you've got a couple of decent options, there's going to be debate. There should be debate. It shouldn't be cut and dry. There should be discussion as to who the best option is, and it comes down to a vote. Because if they can't, if they cannot get to a unanimous decision, do we just keep Hook forever? Like that doesn't.
Let's bring back Ryan Smith and give him his first premiership.
I like the second bit.
What about Brian Smith's young bloke, Rowan Smith? He's
name's
coaching
been
over in the
mentioned.
UK at the moment. And apparently he's going well.
Yeah, I haven't followed too much of the UK in the last UK league in the last.
I
couple of
think
years.
he's with Leeds. I think that's Brian Smith's young bloke. I think it is.
Yeah.
Well, both the Smith boys were good coaches. Just
Tony
didn't
Smith is a
quite do
very
it.
good coach. Yeah.
We haven't brought up Bronx Goodwin, Donny.
Bronx Goodwin.
Bronx Goodwin. Oh,
Yeah.
He did.
Well, I mean, he's got his first coaching gig ever. It's not the under 6s, it's the Dragons reserve grade side. Maybe next step is definitely the NRL. After he's been doing that for about 6 weeks, so he's qualified.
He's qualified.
I thought you'd like that.
It's lovely.
All right, Hasman. Obviously, all the players, whenever they're doing media, keep getting asked about the coaching drama. But Ben Hunt keeps giving them great quotes about him not having the time to start again, having to maybe reconsider his future if they change coaches. He might have to start from scratch with a new coach, and he doesn't have the time to do that. How much time do you think it would take for Hook to make this team a premiership contender? And do you think Hunt has that much time?
Look, I have absolutely no confidence whatsoever at this point in time with Hook's ability to lead this team to even the top 8, let alone be a premiership contender, regardless of how much fucking time he gets. In fact, I don't even expect him to last the year. Now, if Ben Hunt's going to throw down this sort of bullshit ultimatum that if Hook goes, I go, then as far as I'm concerned, he can basically just piss off now and go out to the bloody Dolphins like he might think he wants to do. I mean, what he needs to realize is there's no player bigger than the club, and the administration need to make this point absolutely fucking crystal clear to the entire playing group, which, to be honest, I think needs to be cleaned out anyway. There's way too many passengers in the team. Moses Ambai, for example. Love picking on Ambai. We need a breath of fresh air throughout the entire club, from the board right down to the towel boys, if we're going to be forcing this competition again. So we got to cut out the bullshit and start doing what we need to do.
Yeah, no, I think we've been saying it for a while on this pod that our next premiership is with Jaden Sullivan and Junior Amone in the halves. It is Ben Hunt is not a part of our next premiership. He never has been. He never will be. That's not going to come in the next 3 years, and his career is going to be over by then. Like he's 33, 34 now. Like he's only going to get slower. He's only going to get more injured. That there's not a scenario I can see where the Dragons are a premiership contender while Ben Hunt is still here. I don't see that happening. Whether we get a new coach or don't get a new coach, there's way too much work to be done at this club. The fact that so many of the players seem to think we're heading in the right direction, they've shown us nothing. There has been no evidence shown to any of the fans, to any of the people that watch this team week in, week out, that we are heading in the right direction. There's been nothing that they have done on the field to give us any confidence in Hook or this playing group for that matter, really. Like there is so much work that needs to be done, and Hook's not the man to do it for me.
I'm not getting any indication whatsoever that Hook even knows what the right direction is.
It's exactly right.
I'm getting nothing from him to make me even remotely think that.
Or backwards to 1996 or something like that, I think.
I mean, fuck, you have a look at his press conferences. It's the same fucking bullshit every week. It's like you could just basically record one and just play that for the entire bloody season.
Muzza, I'll just interrupt there. Muzza's got some breaking news.
No, not my breaking news. Just scrolling through there, and I just saw somewhere that they said the board meeting being brought forward to 9 a.m. Whether it's just a piss take or not, I'm not sure. But
yeah, Jared posted that. I saw that earlier.
Yeah, well, if that's true, that's huge news. If the board meeting has been brought forward, then you'd have to think that's about the coach, because they do have a scheduled board meeting on Tuesday. If they're going to bring that forward, then that would mean Hook's gone. He'll be discussed and sacked in that meeting. But don't know if that's true. That's just in the comments that Muzz's seen, but I missed that one. But anyway, we move on now. We'll have a chat about.
Excuse me, Donnie.
Yes,
can I just ask? Just quickly. If to say Hook does leave, does that mean Ben Hunt will leave? Is there something in his? Because I was just thinking about his comments of late. And
it depends on who you listen to, Chloe, because NRL 360 said that there is nothing in his contract tied to Hook. He does not have an out clause if Hook goes. Corey Hammond on Win News, however, though, said that there is something in Hunt's contract saying that if Hook goes, that he can also leave. So it depends on who you listen to. Yeah. No one actually really knows.
Hang on a minute. Can I just say something? Hunt's got a pretty big contract in the last couple of years of his contract. Would you up and leave getting paid that much money at this point of his career? Do you reckon he's going to get paid that amount of money somewhere else?
Yeah, that much at Dolphins.
Possibly.
So do you reckon the Dolphins will pay him that now?
What's he getting now? 900 or something in it?
Isn't he on over $1 million a year?
No, he's dropped down.
He's dropped down.
850, 900 or something?
Yeah, but it's about 850 starting from next year.
Yeah.
So he's on over $1 million this year, but he drops.
He'll get $1 million at the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Well, they're offering Jack Whiten 1.1 million. I think Ben Hunt's better than Jack Whiten. He's not going to throw an intercept to Tau Moga in the dying moments when you're leading by 8.
But Sullivan and Katoa have been the reason that they've been going well. So you're going to bring in Ben Hunt and Whiten to take over those positions.
Well, they're not going to take both. They just want one experienced half to help those young blokes.
And Canberra see that Jack Whiten's their chance to win in the grand final, so he'll stay in Canberra.
I can't see them winning a granny.
Oh, neither can I. But they reckon he's the one that do it for him.
Yeah,
I can see him going to the Dolphins though. Whiten.
Yeah. And we get stuck with Hunt.
Well, I think we're stuck with Hunt anyway.
just can't
Hunt's
see.
going all right. We've signed him up for another 2 years, which
He's going all right.
I always thought that was a mistake to sign him for another 2 years. I think this year should have been Hunt's last at our club, and then we should have been moving on and letting Sullivan take over.
It may be so.
Well, it might end up that way, but yeah. In answer to your question, Chloe, is that my recollection is that Hunt wanted something in his contract tied to Hook, and the club said no. Either you sign this contract that we're giving you that isn't linked to Hook, or you don't get a contract. And he signed the contract. So I don't think there is anything in his contract that is linked to Hook.
Yeah.
But as a lot of people have said, that if he wants to leave because we get rid of the coach, then let him leave. But as Jesse said last week, don't pay him.
Yeah, he says positive things about the coach, and I'm sitting there going, what have you seen? So I think that I don't know, he's got rocks in his head, but I still he's been saying this since the day we've been going on about this. And even today, Zach Lomax didn't kick, and I wanted maybe him to use his initiative and go, hey, buddy, I'll overtake, but he still didn't kick goals. And so he's just a number on that field. And it's so frustrating to see. He's a State of Origin player who can do stuff, but he's so selfish that he won't even help a team. What do you do? It's just so frustrating.
Yeah.
He's a great player. No doubt about that.
He's a great player, but he's a selfish player. He won't. Zach Lomax didn't freaking kick anything today. Well, yeah, anyway, but then he couldn't even go, hey, mate, I'll help you and kick a goal or something. He's very lackluster. Is that the word? Yeah.
I think Zach Lomax is a better goal kicker even now than Ben Hunt. So
I know. I just thought having a plan B, but there's never a fucking plan B in this second side.
and that he bloody kicked O'Dell's at one from right next to the bloody post.
I'm surprised he got that.
Yeah.
I was a little bit. I was expecting him to miss that too.
Yeah, the way you're striking them. Jesse, you've got something to add, mate?
Yeah, so it's about Ben Hunt, what his comments during the week. He always comes in about the Griffin. What I get that, yes, he's been with him since he's been at the Broncos and that, but why are you coming in and defending all the time? If you're not happy in the club and if you say Griffin goes, I might have to reconsider my future, I'm not ready for a new coach, then get out of the club.
Doesn't fill us full of confidence. That's what I don't like about it.
Yeah. Me either. It's just I'm just here for the coach, really.
And he's here for the money.
He's our club captain, and he's supposed to be all about the club.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there are reports that suggest that some of the higher ups at the Dragons have pulled Ben Hunt aside because of those comments and told him to pull his head in. He's well within his rights to support his mate and his current head coach in Griffin. He's well within his rights to defend him and say whatever he likes about him. But as soon as you're putting ultimatums to the club and saying that you might have to reconsider your future if we get rid of Hook, then that's you trying to hold the club to ransom, and that's not on. So whether the reports are right or not, but there certainly have been some reports today saying that Hunt has been pulled aside and told to pull his head in on some of the comments that he has made. All right, we'll move on from that now because otherwise we'll be here all night. Jesse, we'll get you started now. We just wind you up. We'll start talking NRLW. We might leave the room. We'll come back in on Tuesday and you'll still be going. But NRLW contracts. Once again, a lot of movement during the week and a number of signings for the Dragons. A few players announced and confirmed as leaving, as you've rumoured on this program a couple of times already, but have been made official now. So a few changes. Just take us through how Jamie Soward's roster is shaping up.
So yes, he made another 2 signings yesterday. So he signed the wife of Ben Murdoch-Masila, Roxy Murdoch-Masila. So she's a Kiwi Fern international. She played in the World Cup last season. She's a back rower, just like Ben. And she has NRLW experience. She's played with the Broncos and the Titans. So got that New Zealand connection there with the McGregor sisters. So some experience there in the back row. And another signing, she's an outside back playing in the women's Super Rugby competition, the name of Margot Vella. So she's just joined with the club. We've also signed 4 development players that won't be counted in the top 24, but unlike previous years, they are allowed to play. So we've signed Maddie Mulhall, who's been playing in the St George Harvey Norman Women's Premiership side and was captain of the St George Tarsha Gale side as well. They've signed 2 players from the Illawarra Steelers Tarsha Gale side in Casey Ray and Indy Bostock, who's the sister of Jack Bostock, who's playing for the Dolphins at the moment, and also signed Bronte Wilson, another player that's been come from across from the women's Super Rugby competition, playing for the New South Wales Waratahs. And yes, the worst kept secret was revealed today. Cronulla have signed Emma Tonagato as their first marquee signing. I've been getting messages about this one all day, like why we'd be losing a quality player like Tonagato. I could throw this one to you guys too. What are your thoughts on the loss of Tonagato?
Yep. Hasman, you got any thoughts on the loss of Tonagato?
Well, it's disappointing, obviously, but she's such a gun player. But it does give Tegan Berry the flash. First crack at number 1, and I reckon she might be. I reckon she'll be as good, if not better, than Tonagato. I think that was always going to happen. I think Tonagato was a Cronulla junior from memory. Was that right, Donny?
I think she played for them in the New South Wales Women's Premiership. There's certainly some photos of her and shots of her playing in a Sharks jersey. So, Jesse, did she represent?
She's a Helensburgh. She's a Helensburgh junior. So,
Okay.
she's Wollongong girl. So,
did she play
yeah.
New South Wales Women's Premiership for the Sharks? Because they seem to have a lot of shots of her playing in a Sharks jersey.
I don't recall. Might have been a few years ago because she's been in rugby sevens for many years. She was in that Rio Olympics gold medal side in 2016. So, must have been some time ago. I don't really know because
maybe just some good work by the Sharks media team. They've got this announcement all prepared nicely and created some shots of her wearing a Sharks jersey. But yeah, I know you're particularly upset about the loss of Tonagato, Jesse. You said that she's your favourite player in the competition. I think this is the problem that a lot of fans of NRLW are having trouble with, is that all their favourite players are going to other clubs. All their favourite players are leaving and going elsewhere, and it makes the competition a little bit harder to follow. But some of that, it shouldn't be as bad going forward as it has been over the first couple of years, Jesse. Oh, no sound.
Jesse.
He's
Can you
dropped
hear
out.
me?
Yeah, got you now. Yep, don't know what happened there.
Yeah, like it's going to be a completely different competition. Yeah, as you said, like it's going to be an exciting opportunity. Tegan Berry, Flash. We got a glimpse of her scoring that brilliant try for the Steelers yesterday. Fullback's always been her preferred position, so it's going to be exciting to see what she can offer. Jamie Sow was actually tipping Tegan Berry to make a New South Wales Origin debut this year, so he's got big raps on it. She's only 20, so she's only going to get better. And I don't know if it's true or not, but the rumor going around that Tonagato was only offered a 1-year contract. Cronulla offered a 2, so you can see the reason why she may have moved on.
And that's a big difference as to why there should be less movement going forward, is these multi-year contracts which have not been allowed in the NRLW before now.
Yeah, and again, another one was Quincy Dodd. She was part of our side the last couple of years, but I think she was always going to go back to Cronulla. She's a Cronulla junior, come through their system, and they were close. Tonagato and Dodd were close when they were both at the Dragons, so I think that could have been a lure too that had Tonagato go to the Sharks. So yeah, but the worst thing is Cronulla's our biggest rival in the NRL, so to have her go to the Sharks, it's going to be fiery when we see the first NRLW local derby.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, and I've said this a couple of times, in terms of the expansion of the NRLW. It is massive what has happened this year in that NRLW, going from 6 teams to 10 teams in one jump. That's 4 teams added to a 6-team competition. That's the equivalent of adding 11 teams right next season for NRL. Imagine if they added 11 teams to the NRL next season. I don't know what 11 teams they would add, but it's crazy to think. And add to that the fact that every single player in the entire NRLW was off contract. Imagine if every single player in the NRL became a free agent. There was 11 new teams coming into the competition. How many of our current team do you think would re-sign with the Dragons the following year? I don't think there would be many at all. I think the Dragons have done a remarkable job to keep the ones that they have kept, bringing in last year's Dally M medal winner in
Racine McGregor.
I think they've actually built a pretty good squad for what is going to be a very different competition to what we saw last year. A 16 competition compared to 10 teams.
Oh, it's going to be
every team's going to be weaker.
It's going to be very diluted, but you're going to see all these new young junior girls coming through, and they're going to show us what they can do. Like Tegan Berry at fullback. It's going to be a great move. Apparently, she's the fullback of the junior girls competition. But yeah, so it's going to dilute the competition, but you're going to see these young girls come through, these young 17, 18, 19-year-old girls, all the flyers. It's going to be a quick game. I hope the wrestle doesn't come into the girls' game. They've talked about them doing it, but it's a better game without the wrestle.
You mentioned Racine McGregor too. Paige McGregor's an assistant too. They've managed to keep her. She's only young. She's a gun. She's going to be a great player. I mean, I think she's 22, 23.
Yeah.
I think she'll be one of the best young centers in the game. I think she
A
already is.
good young forward pack.
Well, you mentioned that we've got the wife of Ben Murdoch, Marcella, signed up during the week, but we've also got the wife of Racine McGregor as well.
That's right. Well, soon. Soon
to be.
Moment.
They're engaged, are they? I thought they got married. I thought I saw photos of their wedding. But, okay.
No. Yeah, they're playing together for North Sydney in the Harvey Norman Premiership. So they've got that combination together, and having Paige in the Dragons team already, they're pretty happy that they finally got all together. And it was always been Racine and Paige's dream to play together. They haven't really played together since they were kids, and they played together for New Zealand in the World Cup last year. But to play in a week in, week out competition alongside each other probably would be a dream come true for them and their families. So that's going to be great to see. Bobby Law's another good signing for them. She was in that Knights Premiership side last year, so she's got some experience around the side. She's knocking on the door of an Origin appearance for New South Wales. So, I mean, when you get a Premiership winner that knows what it takes to win a Premiership, that's going to be great for these younger girls. And like we said, there's a lot of young talent there. Jamie Soward's highlighted Keely Brown's a competitive young player. He loves the way she plays the game. She's going to get better from her first 2 years last year as well. Well, yeah, you know what I mean, because there was 2 comps in 1 year last year, but she'll get better. Tara McGrath-West had a great season, and I thought she deserved another contract. She became one of the best young front rows in the comp, and yeah, hopefully we can get some more signings. There's 4 spots left to fill. We've signed probably the most of any of the 10 clubs so far, but us and Parramatta have lost the most. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who other clubs sign. But again, it's while it is disappointing to lose players like Tonegata and Kezi Apps and Keely Davis and players like that, a lot of from what I'm hearing, the girls are saying that Jamie Soward is very passionate about the game. I think he was very passionate as a player as well. I hope that he can build a good side. It'd be interesting to see who his last 4 signings are, and then they start pre-season next month. And then the season looking to start in July at some point. They're trying to finalise a draw. It should be done. They said it should be released sometime in April. I haven't heard anything of that since, though. But probably
Yeah.
seeing who else signs first. With other clubs
In terms of Jamie Soward, I've absolutely loved what Soward has done in terms of announcing the signings. He's driven around a lot to see them, or got the players in to do a personalised video for every single player that he signed. Got a selfie with them, posted it up. He's doing it all off his own back. This isn't club sanctioned, even though the club is sharing his posts and the way that he's doing it in getting out and making every single player that he signs feel special and feel part of the club and feel part of something that he's trying to build, and that they're an important member to him. I think it's been great the way that he's done it and gone about it. I think they are building a pretty good squad for the competition we're actually going to have. And maybe the Dragons girls can give us long-suffering Dragons fans something to cheer about this season in the expanded NRLW competition. We might wrap it up there tonight. Thank you very much to all the panel members that have joined us. It's been fantastic to have you on after such a difficult loss against the Raiders. Always tough to lose those close ones, and we seem to lose more than we win nowadays. So great to have so many passionate Dragons fans joining us, both on the stream watching and also on the panel. So thank you all very much, and until next week, come on, Dragons fans, fire up!
Fire up.
Dragons for life, baby. Dragons for life.
Fire up.